Hello everyone, Johntrollski here, and welcome to my Hyperburning adventure. I will take you on my experience through leveling from 1 to 260. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. The most important part of Hyperburning is the character you choose to play. Currently, there are only 49 classes in global MapleStory. This makes it difficult to determine the best choice. However, I have already chosen who I will play, which is the Explorer Warrior Hero. In the past, I've already hyperburned an archer, a mage, and a thief. Warrior is just the last archetype I don't have at 250. So with that being said, let us get into it. Every explorer has an intro quest line they have to complete at least once. Since I have already completed this on a previous character, I use the quest skip feature to skip this content. With this out of the way, the most important step now is to make my character look good. This game is called Fashion Story for a reason. Now, that is much better. The first thing any hyperburning character should do is claim the starting gifts. These gifts will help with the early progression and speed up the grind. The rewards you get from the starting package are 30-day snail pet, level 30 equipment box, frozen gear set box, eternal flame ring, temporary CRA box, and eternal flame title. Right away, I used the 30-day snail pet. I knew that I was going to be playing every day, so it was fine to claim it this early. Generally, I wait until level 200 since it has a lot more value then, but there's another event that will give us a good pet later, so I'm not really too worried about this. To prepare for training, I go ahead and apply my leveling link skills. This is just a general leveling link setup. I'll put one on screen for reference, but there's many different combinations you can do. Finally, with all the prerequisites out of the way, I start training at Flaming Golems. This is my usual training spot for new characters. Comment your favorite new character training maps. At level 25, I go ahead and train at Cursed Eyes, get all the way up to level 30. Pause, before I go over anything, I made two major mistakes after hitting level 30. I did not read the patch notes, so I was unaware of two major events that would have sped up my leveling efforts. Terra Blink and 0 to 100 event. These events were specifically designed to help your character skip the earlier levels and get to 200 as fast as possible. I realized this too late and can only benefit a small amount from the Terra Blink event. So here's a quick filler training arc of my leveling from 30 to 100. The maps I trained in was Gold Beach, Sleepywood, Orbis, Sea Hail, Authorized Personnel, Skynest 2, and with all of that, I finally hit 100 in the most inefficient way possible. This is why reading is important. So now with being level 100, I can claim the frozen gear box to get a nice gear set. I'll end up start forcing this later, but I don't want to waste my current EXP coupon that's running. This will hold us off until I can get the temporary CRA gear. I go ahead and complete my 4th job advancement and put some points in the important skills. With that, I go and challenge normal Zachem for the EXP and the chance to get 2 accessories. Instead of dropping any gear, I got a flame and a solid cube. The chances of both of those dropping together I feel like are pretty low and lower than a gear drop. The EXP coupon is still running, so I go and train in Ludibrium. Any of the robo maps are pretty good, but they are just class dependent. I switched at level 113 to go to the Star Force maps in the lower section. All the maps here are good as well, just find what feels good for your class and is high burning. To finish this training section, I achieved level 120 in Korean Folktown. With my EXP coupon finally out, I start the main event for this update, Dreaming Lackaline. I go ahead and accept all the quests in the event map. I will go over the relevant events as they make sense. Now at level 130, I start training in the non-Star Force maps in Kerning Tower. At level 140, I go ahead and finally start Star Forcing my frozen gear so I can train at the Star Force maps. I also joined a guild to get an extra free Star Force and some other buffs. At level 150, I can finally claim my temp CRA gear set. I go with the two-handed axe for hero as it is technically the best weapon choice. The hero's guide on the Discord has a good explanation of what to choose. I'll leave a link to it below. Here is my current stats with all my current equipment. I trained in Kerning Tower until level 167. From 170 to 180, I trained in Critias and Knight Stronghold. These were the worst levels to train in my opinion, and now to finish my leveling for this section, I go and train in Future Parion to achieve level 185. Now I start the Chaos Root Abyss prequest. This takes around 10 minutes to complete, and this unlocks 4 important bosses for our progression: Crimson Queen, Pierre, Bonbon, and Vellum. The Chaos version of these bosses drop gear fragments that you can claim for the CRA gear set, which is going to be best in slot for a very long time, and is going to replace our temp version. Now for a quick gear update. I claimed Eternal Flame Ring from the Hyperburning rewards. It's a unique ring that will be a good placeholder ring, and eventual drop in Mesa ring in the future when we rank it up. I also claimed a trait boost potion to unlock my pocket slot. Now it's time to go defeat all available bosses that I can clear at this stage of the game. So enjoy the quick montage. This is when I realized the Terror Blink event was so much quicker and I made a major mistake. One of the nicest rewards is this pet that has auto buff and all these other pet skills. These are rare to come by unless you spend NX on the skill or you play during one of the events that can give you one of these pets. So I go ahead and complete the Terror Blink event, which mainly consists of dialogue, a small guide, and killing some mobs. With that, I achieved level 200 in probably the most inefficient way, and that's why it's so important to read the patch notes. Now that I am level 200, I go and start my 5th job advancement quest. The first part consists of talking to the 3 goddesses and completing their requests. A tip for the goddess of Brandis is that if you talk to them again, you can actually go clear Magnus even if you've already cleared it for the day. But this version doesn't drop any items as it's a story mode version. With that, we unlock our 5th job skills. I lost the clip, but I quest skipped the Vanishing Journey quest line. As I am training and doing dailies, I'm filling up these 3 potions that when complete give you a set amount of EXP. Generally, you can hit 101 to 202 using them. Now, let's go over some of the recent gear improvements. First, I take out Zachem to get both the eye and face accessory. This is a lot of free stats and it's nice to get both in one clear. I cleared Magnus and got the Royal Shoulder. I'll keep fighting him to get a potential version and still looking for a badge drop. I cleared Chaos Horntail and got the earring drop, which is pretty nice. And lastly, I cleared Arcarium to get a Mechanator pendant. I'll keep fighting him every day for the chance to get a Dominator pendant since they drop very rarely. To finish off this gearing section, I claimed 50 nodes from the Hyperburning event. The main thing I got here was just Holy Symbol, which will speed up my training, which is pretty nice. Now at 203, I have expiring EXP vouchers, so I end up using them to achieve level 209. I do have the option to use them on mules, but I mainly want to focus on my Hyperburning first. At 209, I go and quest skip Reverse City as well. Reverse City actually unlocks at 205 and is important to complete since it will give us double the symbols for the dailies for Vanishing Journey. With that, I hit level 210. Starting off at 210, I quest skip Choo Choo Island. I also skipped Yum Yum Island at 215, but I never recorded it for some reason. Now at 212, I complete the 3rd weekly quest for Midnight Party to get a ring selection coupon. I throw it on for now, but have plans to upgrade this in the future. Staying on topic for gear upgrades, I also buy 2 epic potential scrolls. I use them on my emblem and secondary. These are the most important upgrades first since they are permanent. I reveal the potentials and my emblem already has 6% attack, which is awesome. I go and try to cube my secondary, but I end up giving up for now since I was just getting really unlucky. I also throw some miracle circulators to reroll my inner ability, but I ended up settling for a unique 21 attack for now. To finish this gear section, I go and get the NLC treasure ring. It's a short 5-minute kill quest. The reward is a potable and good placeholder ring. I throw a single cube and get it to epic. I got it to 6% stat, but never recorded it. To finish this section, I used EXP vouchers to get from level 213 all the way to 220. I didn't have any other characters that could use them and just wanted to skip these lower levels. Now that I am 220, I go and start the next area, Lacaline. I quest skip it as usual. With that, I finally claim the expiring symbol coupons and throw them all on my latch symbol. At 220, you get an Absolute weapon reward from the Hyperburning event. The potential and the Star Force are locked, but it can be flamed. This is a big upgrade over our current temporary CRA weapon and will be a nice boost in damage. During this time, I also got one other minor gear upgrade. After many attempts, I have finally obtained the pink bean belt. 2 other items I want to upgrade were 2 rings that were sitting at rare potential. I throw 1 cube at my Tinnitus ring and I got it to epic. Then I throw 1 cube on my Horntail ring and also get it to rank up in 1 cube. What is my luck today? With the extra cubes, I decide to throw them onto my shoulder. After a few attempts, it finally ranks up and I stay with that 3% all stat for now. The rest of my cubes go onto my face and eye accessories for no luck. I end up trying to cult cube them to 3% stat, but I end up giving up on the face. After doing dailies, grinding, and some EXP vouchers, I finally hit 225 and started Arcana. I quest skip it, and I accept the level 5 symbol and the 50 notes. I have not really upgraded any trios at this point, but that is coming soon. With no time at all, I hit level 230. I love Hyperburning so much. Chapter 6 is a major section of my progression, so feel free to use any of the timestamps in the description. We have many milestones and gear upgrades coming up, so stay tuned. Now at 230, I quest skip Morass like usual. With all that out of the way, I casually have to use 900 expiring symbols, so I just go ham and level up the Morass symbol all the way to level 14. Don't judge me here, alright, because Morass really sucks. Here are my rough stats after this. Moving on to nodes, I've been opening them here and there, and I've gotten all my bossing and mobbing trios. So here's the current level of all my nodes at level 230. There is also a Star Force event going on, so I get most of my items to 10 to 12 stars. So here's a quick Star Force montage. These are my final stats before I start bossing. There is an upcoming DMT for tops, bottoms, and capes. The ideal scenario here is for me to have the CRA set ready, so I go and do just that. So let's go take down some bosses. Von Bon is one of the less annoying CRA bosses in my opinion. On my first attempt I ended up actually clearing him, but it was with 1 life and it was pretty close. It took 4.5 minutes, which is actually pretty good at this stage. I was actually surprised. Chaos Pierre is probably the most annoying CRA boss in my opinion. While having the least amount of HP, the mechanics are just not fun. I end up clearing him, but the clip glitches out a little bit, so sorry about that. Chaos Queen is not the final boss, but the final boss I'll be completing here as I won't be doing Vellum. She has a few annoying mechanics, but is not too bad all things considered, I ended up failing my first attempt, but ended up clearing it later. Hard Magnus was next, and honestly, he is much easier than I remember. If he got nerfed, let me know in the comments. I ended up clearing him with a good bit of deaths, but that's kinda normal, you get like 15. We also got a Tyrant Cape, which is going to be a good placeholder until we can get the Absolab set. Chaos Zachem is really not that hard at all, but has a ton of HP. It can be annoying to fight once you clear all of his hands. Overall, it's not too bad. Hard Hilla is one of the easiest out of all of these bosses. With her cage mechanic gone, all you have to do is outburst her healing. On a nice note, I ended up getting a nice, high-flamed earring to replace my Horntail ones. Normal Cygnus is also one of the easier ones as well. She has a ton of HP, but besides that has one very simple one-shot mechanic. I end up using the shards to claim the Empress boots and gloves, which will be placeholders until Absolab. Now, after completing all those bosses, we have a few more gear upgrades to complete. There is an upcoming DMT for tops, bottoms, and capes. My issue is I have some expiring cubes, so I end up throwing them on my emblem instead. It took me over 24 cubes to get to unique, which I feel like is pretty unlucky. It took around another 18 cubes to get the legendary. This cubing session did not feel too great, and this is why I stick to cube sales and double miracle times when they come around. It's finally time for DMT for tops, bottoms, and capes. With my preparation, I was able to get all 3 Serie pieces and get them to epic potential beforehand. Unfortunately, I missed the helmet DMT, but I'll still cube it in this section. I'll also be keeping a tally on screen of how many cubes it takes for each item, so let's get into the montage. Dang, only 1 cube to legendary on a non-DMT item? Now that is lucky. 21 cubes to legendary? Really funny Nexon. Alright, this one was a lot more balanced, so I'm actually pretty happy. Let's finish off with the cape. Yep, there we go. Nexon is apologizing for the 21 cube legendary. I cubed the gear to have a line of stat, and I'm leaving it there for now. They also need to be Star Forced, but there's an upcoming event soon, so I'm just going to wait for now. For the time being, there are no stat changes to show. Another important piece of gear to upgrade are my event rings. The Midnight Party event board has a 100 event cube reward, so I plan on using that on the 3 rings I currently have. 18 cubes for unique, and another 20 cubes, and I kind of just settled with 9% strength as I really was just getting annoyed. Took 21 cubes to get my Tenebris ring to unique, and then 5 more cubes I ended up with 18% strength, so that was actually pretty good. And lastly, I used 12 cubes to get 9% strength. This is also pretty decent. This concludes my heavy cubing section, and here are my current stats with all my current buffs and equips. Now I still have one last piece of gear I get in this level range. I go and complete the Von Leon questline. The reason for this is to get the Noble Ifya ring. There are a few reasons to go out of your way to get this ring. The first reason is the ring has the same stats as the Horntail ring, but it can go up to 15 stars. It's also another decent placeholder ring that can get potential. The unfortunate part is that it takes 9 days of killing hard Von Leon to get all the pieces, plus the questline. Moving past gear progression, and to conclude this section, I hit 235, so I go ahead and quest skip Esfera. Esfera is the last area that will grant us arcane symbols, so with all the dailies unlocked and using some EXP vouchers, I very quickly get to level 240. Now that I'm level 242, we start the Celos questline. I quest skip it as usual. Around that same time, I noticed that I had 5,000 EXP vouchers expiring, so I went ahead and used them. I went from 242 all the way to 245. These coupons are very strong. Today is Sunday, and I'm taking advantage of a Sunny Sunday Star Force event. I get 2 stars for every successful 10-star enhancement and lower. This means I can get my equipment to 12 stars for super cheap. I star force all my CRA pieces to 12 stars, and when the next 5, 10, 15, or 30% event is around, I will try to get to 17 stars. This Sunday is also a 50% off ability reset, so it's time to finally re-roll my inner ability. I've already gotten my inner ability to be unique earlier in the video, so now I'm using miracle circulators to get it to legendary. It took me 6 circulators to get it to legendary. Now time for the spam fest. Here's a quick montage of me trying to roll for +1 attack speed. After a grueling few minutes, I finally get it. Only had 62 honor EXP left, so that was pretty close. One other upgrade I got was leveling up nodes. Experienced nodes got handed out like candy during these events, so I got most of my skill nodes from level 5 to 13, and I also leveled up my boost nodes as well. Here's a quick look at my current stats. I did a pretty bad job keeping track of this, so hopefully in the future I can do better. With the upcoming double miracle time, here I can finally cube my secondary weapon. Unfortunately, I was just 3 shards away from getting the Princess No secondary, which is best in slot for heroes, but the one I have right now is perfectly fine to cube, and claim 20 free glowing cubes from the event board to start. 22 cubes to unique? What is this scam? Never mind, when cubed to legendary again, I love you Nexon. I settle with 9% attack and 35% ID for now, and I'll probably re-roll this during a cube sale. To finish off this section, I hit level 250 and I also quest skip Moonbridge. Starting off this section, I also quest skip Labyrinth. It is crazy how much time I save with this feature. This saves me hours and hours of spamming my spacebar and killing, the same mobs over again. With all of these quest areas skipped and completed, don't forget to accept the kill, quest boosts, and reduction quests for the previous areas. You get more symbols and fewer mobs needed for completion. The first upgrade at 250 was leveling up my nodes. I used even more experienced nodes and got most of my skill nodes from level 13 to 21, and I also leveled up my boost nodes as well. After throwing some random flames on my gloves, I ended up getting a nasty flame. I'm pretty sure the flame score is around 125, that will be hard to replace for a bit. It's also DMT for gloves, so that is pretty good timing. It landed a decent potential for a temporary glove. 9% strength and 8% crit damage is pretty nice for now without too much investment. It's finally 5, 10, 15, so I'll get my CRA gear to 17 stars. Here's a quick montage of me star forcing each piece. This roughly cost me 1.5 bill to get 3 pieces to 17 stars, which is not too bad, though one of the pieces was already 15 stars, so take that into account. After many attempts at Arcarium, I finally got my first Dominator pendant. For now, I star force it to 11 stars and will cube this later. To finish this section, I reached level 260 in a very lazy method. I did 7 Monster Park runs every day in all my Arcane dailies. The event board had EXP boosts for both Monster Park and Arcane River, so this made it even quicker. Now that I'm level 260, my goal is to clear both Lotus and Damien solo. This section will be my final preparations before facing them. To start this section off, I go and kill all hard bosses to get a benchmark of my current damage. Now I clear all previous bosses much faster. Here are my current stats. Today there's an accessories DMT going on, and this is an important one. I rolled the ring to 9% stat. I rolled the Dominator pendant 12% strength and 6% all stat. $36 cubes to legendary Nexon? Are you kidding me? This is not funny. This is terrible. double mesa line is nice, I guess, but I don't really farm too much. On my glory ring, I go for 6% all stat. On my flame ring, I go for 9% all stat. On my mechanator, I go for 9% strength. Lastly, on my Hela earrings, I go for 9% strength. This concludes the DMT section. Here are my stats afterwards. About a 1k stat increase, which is really nice. With the midnight event ending soon, I claim 100 black rebirth flames. Here's a short compilation of all the flames that I got. About a 400 stat increase, which is pretty nice for a small amount of work. This is the final double miracle time of the video. I go and cube my Empress boots. Not my unluckiest DMT, it's alright. I'll leave the boots at 15% all stat, which is actually pretty good all things considered. This is the final cubing section. The Dreaming Lacaline board has a lot of cubes. From event ring cubes to solo cubes, I use them to cube all my gear. I did so much cubing here, I just will show you the final potential of all my items. These are the final upgrades before I take on Lotus and Damien. First, I max out all my skill nodes and level my boost nodes as much as possible. I'll use any symbol and symbol selectors that I have left. I claim the 15-star legendary arcane weapon from the Hyperburning event. Lastly, I open up FAMs until I can get an IED familiar, which around 100 familiars, I actually get it. I have finally made it to Lotus and Damien at the end of the Hyperburning event. Let's go over all my gear before the fight. The full fights will be linked below in the description for all those who are interested. Damien is the easier one out of the two, however, it takes longer in my opinion. I clear him in 11 minutes, which is not too bad for my first attempt on Hero, but now it's time for the final boss, Lotus. With the Lotus remaster, this fight is so much cooler, but so much more annoying in my opinion. It's a lot more micromanaging, but this is not a bad thing. Overall, the remaster was really good, but part of me still misses the old simplicity of old Lotus. With my 2 goals complete, this marks the end of the video. I can't believe it's over. I want to thank anyone who's watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. These videos take a long time to produce and a lot of energy. So, thank you everyone. Johntrollski out.